Okay.
Got it.
All right. So I was explaining the quorum a moment ago, but I'll do it again. Our bylaws call for a quorum of 5 members for conduct of a general meeting. The members can be board members or residents who live in the neighborhood, or people who live outside the neighborhood but have an interest in the well-being of Brentwood Darlington. So maybe Steve and Linda Goldser, they consider themselves members for the evening. But it looks as though we have more than 5 people, so we have quorum. And we'll need our members to approve the agenda in a moment, but let me just go through it quickly. First, we'll ask everyone to briefly introduce themselves. Then Tina Bjornstad Zafransky is going to give us a presentation about urban farming in BD. She has turned her yard into a wonderful farm. It's quite exciting to visit over there. And then if we have representatives from our friends like Black Futures Farm and Master Gardeners, and today we have Linda, so we would like to hear about Master Gardeners. And then I'll give a quick report on items of interest. I have added a couple since putting out the agenda. And then I would like to do something new, which is actually required in our bylaws, and that is to ask for suggestions for future agenda items. And then I've added the possibility of public comment. If anyone present wants to speak up about something that's on their mind, we would welcome that. And we just need to be done by 7:30. So if we could go back up to the top.
Oh, sorry.
Or we don't need it again. That was good. Good move. Thank you. So I'd like each of us to introduce themselves. Just briefly, just say your name and whether you're a resident or a board director or board advisor or whatever. Derek, why don't you go first?
Okay, my name is Derek Covey. I'm a board member. I've lived in the Richmond neighborhood since 2012. For that, I was in the Richmond neighborhood, 99 to 2012, and I've been in Brentwood Darlington since 2012 as a board member. And that's it. Next.
Oh, but Derek is very knowledgeable about the housing situation here. So
I am a realtor with eXp Realty. Yes.
Yeah,
so,
and you're going to be driving driving Max trains, right?
Yeah, I during the pandemic, I answered the call to be a bus operator, and recently I passed a work test to be in the light rail class starting in February. So as a light rail operator.
Congratulations. I think that's great. Okay, Lisa, would you introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Lisa Jameson. I've lived in Portland for 4 years and Brentwood Darlington for 1 year, and I'm an advisor to the board and very interested in revitalizing the community center.
Okay, very fine. Thank you. Steve Novick.
I'm Steve Novick. live in Woodstock, just across the border. I'm on the 43rd, and I've lived in Southeast Portland most of the past 25 years, and I'm running for city council in District 3.
Oh boy, are there any other people who have stepped up, or are you the first?
There's 9 of them.
Oh, really? Already?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
In fact, the Roseway Neighborhood Association is having the first forum with all 10 of us in a few weeks.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Wow, thank you for welcome. And let's go on now. Linda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Linda Goldster, she, her. I am the coordinator, or actually the co-coordinator of the Multnomah County Master Gardener Demonstration Garden, which is located near Brentwood Darlington Park. And I've been coming to the board meetings here for around 4 years.
Yes, and we're delighted to have you. Thank you, Linda. Gail, let's hear from you. Well, we can see your lips moving. Should I introduce you?
Gail, why don't you use the chat?
Okay, so Gail Keeley is a board member who has been with us for at least 20 years. She's our longest serving board member. She and her husband were responsible for starting off the Movies in the Park program that is now spread throughout Portland. And she also was on the initial advisory board for what was to become Arrow Heights Park. So thank you, Gail. I'm so glad you're here. Kim DeLeo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, good evening. Sorry, running late from work. Kimberly DeLeo. I have been in Brentwood, Darlington since 2015 and a board member for maybe 3 years now. And she, her pronouns. Anything else that I'm
No,
missing?
It's lovely to have you. I might say that you've joined me in our endeavor with the local convenience stores owned
Yes.
by Korean Americans, and this promises to be really, really exciting and interesting. We're going to be meeting soon with the field representative from Senator Merkley's entourage
Mhm.
on January 10th to see what they have to offer our convenience stores. So Kim and I are both going to be there, and we'll be able to tell you all about it next time. And,
Awesome.
okay, Willie Chotson, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you all for having me. I am in the Brentwood Darlington area. I live corner of Duke and 62nd, so right near Brentwood City Park, and I'm also running for state legislature right now. So
For state legislature. Oh, okay.
yeah, I came to come listen in and hear what's going on, in the neighborhood association. It's my first time at these meetings, but I mostly just came to listen. I'm a public defender working in Portland, so seeing a lot of what's going on in our community and felt like I had to do more to try to help. But thanks for having me and thanks for doing this.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Glad that you're here. And Tina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I was fixing my camera there. Let's see. I'm Tina Bjornstead Shafransky. I'm an advisor for the board. I pick your pronouns. I'll answer to almost anything. I've been part of Brentwood Darlington neighborhood off and on since 1997. And I moved to my current property in 2014 for that Thanksgiving. So we're almost at 10 years of getting my home and my property where I want it. So I'll be speaking more in a bit. I'm also heading up and doing a lot of the work for the upcoming Spring Green event for the end of March.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, we need to get organized around, or I need to check in with you on where we stand with that. So, okay, very fine. All right. Well, actually, okay, so that's everyone except for me. I'm Stephanie Frederick. I'm the chair of the Neighborhood Association. I've been here for about 6.5 years. I've been chair for about 1.5 years. Well, and I see much promise for the Neighborhood Association. And I'm very happy to see all of you here tonight. Thank you for coming. And, okay, Tina, I'd like to present Tina Bjornstad Zafransky. She's going to tell us about how she's turned her yard into a farm up in northeast Brentwood, Darlington. So go ahead.
So it's been a long journey. It's not like I was raised with gardening or the permaculture concept or animals at all. I was, as a child, I grew up surrounded by cement and concrete and high rises. So it's been a bumpy ride. The first time I lived in Brentwood, Darlington, I was renting a house and we put in some square foot gardens and didn't get very far because the owner of the house ended up selling it after we'd started. And so it was a while. And then I ended up moving to a place in Oak Grove and tried my hand the first couple of times to just get something to grow. And that taught me a lot. That taught me the fact that I couldn't identify a weed from what I was intentionally planting. So I thought I was pulling weeds and I was pulling what I'd started. And I had this beautiful garden of everything I didn't plant or want. So that first year was bumpy and very much a learning experience. And so it taught me to just take a blind leap of faith and go on ahead and try it. Worst case scenario, you end up with weeds. It's okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a break from this whole plant thing, but I wanted chickens. Why I wanted chickens, I don't know, but I did. So I ended up getting chickens and loved it. I loved having chickens, which was great because they, ate all of the weeds that I accidentally grew. And so it just cascaded from there. So I moved again, kept the chickens, moved here. And at that point, I'd given away all my chickens. And this property, I'm blessed. It's a third of an acre, but the previous owner and his wife were absolute hoarders, hoarders to the nth degree. So I spent several years just posting things on our Buy Nothing group and hauling every week or two a big old trailer load to the dump, paying to have so many tires hauled off because he wanted to have potato towers. Not sure how he was going to grow potato towers on top of the roof. So that took many, many years. And my house is kind of crazy. I run an in-home daycare. So on any given day, I might have 16 preschool kids here, right? And then I have a handful of adults that live here, and I've got dogs and cats, but it's okay, And I'm like, I need to be able to feed people. That's something that is intrinsically part of my nature. And so I went on ahead and we've set up a chicken area again, and I was broke. We ended up buying this house unexpectedly. We originally moved in and just took over the lease, and the previous owner wasn't applying that to the mortgage. So we scrambled and got a mortgage, and so I was broke. But we have this thing called the Buy Nothing group, and somebody was offering chickens, and so I ended up with free chickens that were still laying eggs. That's how I ended up with ducks, and how I've ended up with a lot from the Buy Nothing group because it was something I was after, just maybe not that minute. And so all in all, I was looking around going, this is a third of an acre and there's so many hungry people and I know how to preserve food. It's time to change things. And I started learning the principles of permaculture. And a lot of people think permaculture is just about growing food. But the premise is care of the earth, care of people, including yourself, and fair shares. And there's a lot of interpretation in there, but mostly mine is leans towards that care of people and care of the earth. And the fair share is when I have surplus of the garden, I share that. Or like this past season, I shared cuttings off of my fig so people could actually start their own. So all of that just started cascading. And again, I'm like a lot of people in this neighborhood. I'm strapped for cash. Money is almost always tight. And so I'm like, how can I do this? So I learned that you can go ahead and fill out a form with the extension service. You can get a package of free seeds. You can hop onto the Buy Nothing group and ask for free starts and free seeds. You can talk to the glorious people with the community gardens. They have a seed library and they're happy to share. I talked to my neighbors and got starts, and anytime friends or family said, "Hey, would you like a gift?" I'm like, "Give me a gift card to any of these places." And I started naming off places that I could get plants and seeds and starts. And most of them fit my ethos. I'm a person that believes in supporting companies that don't really limit or inhibit people. So whether it's sexuality, spirituality, gender, it doesn't matter. People are people in my book, and I want to support companies that support that. So that's where I was asking for gifts. And now most of that happened in the last year. And so in the last year, I put in over 150 fruit bearing plants, perennials in my yard, and over 100 perennial herbaceous root edible things. So I have well over 200 plants that are just permanently growing in my yard that feed people, and on top of annuals. And I learned that my household, unlike many, we don't eat a lot of the sun lovers, the tomatoes, the bell peppers, the hot peppers, things like that. We do eat some zucchini, and we do eat some cucumbers, but limited tomatoes. I mean, one plant would feed our entire family and give me enough to can and dry and freeze dry and freeze and all the things for what we consume. But I didn't know that when I started out. And when I first started out here in growing things was 4 years ago. And I had a friend of mine who's a renter. She rents this house, and her landlord was saying, "You can no longer have a garden here." And I said, "Well, I have this beautiful rundown, overrun third of an acre. Would you like to have part of it for a garden?" And she took me up on that offer. And so I kind of learned by apprenticing with her. And we learned that, first of all, I couldn't afford a soil test kit. It's one of the things that everybody recommends, including myself, but I couldn't afford it. That's over $100. I didn't have it. So we just started adding all the compost. I have rabbits, I have ducks, I have chickens. That's a lot of waste and nutrients. And so we composted it and we spread it. And we had another neighbor who happens to have a tiller. He came on over with his bucket tiller and tilled up the soil, which was mostly rock and car parts and bathtubs. We had three cast iron bathtubs hauled off from the ground. Yeah, it was a lot. And it's a little overwhelming when you first start. But what's the worst that's going to happen? Something doesn't grow? It's an adventure. It's a learning experience that's an adventure, and that's okay. And every step we took was taking care of the earth and kind of caring for people. Learning is a skill. Learning is something that feeds people. And so we never backed down. It was worth it. And I got a lot of free starts, and we got things going. And then that was one of the years we had really bad forest fires, right? And everything was being covered with ash, and it was so hot. So we scrounged up the pennies and we got some shade cloth, and that helped a lot. And then we started sharing our food, and it grew from there. And my friend that was needing space is now converted to using just her little patio, which is a 10-foot square patio. And she puts everything in containers. And so she's doing her thing at her place, and I'm doing my thing here. And I completely changed what she was doing. She was running more of a square foot gardening concept, and I'm doing more of a naturescape where the dogs can run through it, the chickens can peck at it and scratch at it. Those are all put away. And then when the daycare's here, they're literally climbing and eating and foraging. And it's an experience, right? So what I've learned from that though is building connections within your community builds resilience, and it builds a local economy. So trading and sharing and gifting and putting on the buy nothing group and all of that with neighbors is really, really important. And becoming community sufficient is really the goal, because becoming self-sufficient isn't sustainable in the long run. So I don't try to grow everything. I don't want to grow everything, and I shouldn't, because it's not sustainable. Whether it's because I've been sick, because I spend way too much time with all the things of life, right? Or not, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for my water bill. It's not sustainable for most people. And because of the ebb and flow. So making those connections is really important. And that's also part of the permaculture philosophy. And it's also part of the whole climate healing environmental coalition aspect. And so I'm now at a point of sharing. I get to share my knowledge. I get to share my produce. I get to share my seeds and my starts and recipes and tidbits that I've learned. And boy, have I fallen on my face a lot. So I'll totally keep talking, but Stephanie, can you share the screen so I can share my tiny little 7-minute slideshow? It's a smattering of what we do here. It's pictures that I pulled off of my Facebook group for the last year.
Well, you should be able to just go ahead and click share screen. Do you have it on
Here
your?
we go. Let's see here. Oop. Let's see here.
So be sure
Here
to
we
give us
go.
a rundown of what you are growing in your garden.
Well, that didn't work. Not the way I wanted. Let's see here. I am going to stop that share and try it differently. This is I am growing so many things, Stephanie. What I'm harvesting right now is, there we go, is like today we had for lunch, we had collard greens, chard, and kale from the garden. And so that was really wonderful. Why is this not playing? I'll share. I am not very good at this, as you can tell. Maybe I have to just start this before. There we go. Thank you. So there, I got it. I figured it out. That's the button I need right there. So we had chard and kale and collard greens for lunch today from the garden. I have broccoli coming in from the garden. That is how I actually start my seeds. I got the Rubbermaid totes from Buy Nothing. These are my first starts of the season that I planted Christmas week. And I have a lot of things. I have things like hardy kiwi that are climbing my walnut trees. I have akebia berries climbing my mimosa tree. I have mulberries, peaches, pears. In my daycare space where they have a climbing structure, we have the peach tree, we have a lemon tree, an orange tree, blackberries, raspberries, and then the entire play space is surrounded by 8, 9, 11 varieties of blueberries. And so they can pretty much snack all year long. And then what we call the jungle is our figs. I have 9 varieties of figs over there that they get to climb through, they hide through. We've had a boat in there. Now where the boat was, I put in 3 banana trees. I have so much that what do I not have, it feels like. But mostly what I'm harvesting right now is the dark leafy greens, the brassicas, so cauliflower, broccoli, cabbages, lots and lots of cabbages, carrots. Carrots are still coming up. Thyme, chives, basil, sage. Sage is doing really well still. And potatoes. I did not harvest all of my potatoes. And I have Egyptian walking onions, so I have fresh onions year round. They're a perennial. And I have tree collards and skirret that are also growing and harvesting right now. In the summer, well, come spring, I mean, I have some snow peas on the front fence so that people walking by can snack, that are still actually blooming and putting on fruit. Then that goes year round. I change those out until it gets too hot for them. And then when it gets too hot for those, I will be putting in summer squashes, because my fence area is on the front, on the street side, is underneath a mimosa tree. And mimosa trees are really nitrogen rich. So that means that all of the nitrogen that the summer squashes really crave, they get. It's going straight into the soil from my tree instead of being leached from the soil. And so it's a ready resource here. And so that's kind of my front space. My goal is by summer to have an abundance cart out front where all of my excess, that's actually from my fence, all of my excess will go out there to be shared, with a box for donations. But if you can't afford it, don't pay. Enjoy some healthy, good food. Even my garden space is covered some of the time. It has hoops over it now. In the cold, we had put some plastic over. Again, Buy Nothing group. We put doors on it from the Buy Nothing group. We used the frames from people's pavilions that had blown over in the windstorm and the snow and the ice, and they didn't have covers anymore and the frames were bent. We took the parts that weren't bent and we repurposed them for the frame of my garden space. So it's not necessarily always beautiful, but the plants make it gorgeous and it's functional. And that's my main goal. I went through and people, I put out the call. I said, hey, who has strawberry plants that need thinning? And I literally went between several houses and collected 400 strawberry starts for free. It was just labor. And it took time, but it was great. So that's how I do a lot of things. I trade, I barter, and I ask. We have 2 fantastic Facebook groups for Brentwood Darlington. We have the Buy Nothing group that I've mentioned more than a few times. And then we have the Brentwood Darlington Solidarity Garden. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, it's the Brentwood Darlington Solidarity Gardens. And I've asked for things and I've gifted things there. It's a perfect platform for discussing all the things about the gardens. If you have questions or where do you get things, that's how I learned how to put in an irrigation system. So I really don't pay. My water bill went up less than $10 a month having this garden. And adding in trees and so many wood chips from the chip drop, which is also free. I really don't have much need to add a lot of water. So it becomes much more financially sustainable and environmentally sustainable. So although I'm feeding so many people, and that's my jungle, that's a fig tree. And when I started, it was huge, but gave no food. It was so nutritionally deficient in that soil that it was a huge jungle and it gave no fruit. So every year, this is the last picture, is all of my daycare children that they blow bubbles to bless the garden. It's our thing. So,
Oh, okay, congratulations. Thank you.
so that's
Let
kind of
me-
my spiel. Does anybody have questions,
Well,
comments?
I do. I'd like you to just give a quick rundown of your preserving methods.
Oh, Stephanie, I preserve in all the ways. I do air drying. You saw some of the mesh hanging things. You saw herbs tied together and hanging from my rafters. I have a more traditional food dryer. I also have water bath canner, pressure canner, 3 refrigerators with freezers, a huge, huge upright freezer. And then I also ferment. So all the lacto fermenting, I do that. I also have a freeze dryer. So I commercially freeze dry a lot of food, which keeps the most amount of nutrition in my product. And in many ways, it gives me the best texture and mouthfeel and easiest storage. So if you've ever been to like the camping section in a store and you've seen those bags of ready-made meals, all you do is add water, they're freeze dried. I make my own. I used to freeze my green beans and softer vegetables because they get squishy with the heat of canning. And I found that I really like freeze drying them better because all you do is fry them up or cook them however you normally would, and the moisture reconstitutes it back to almost brand new, fresh from my garden.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
it retains 98% of its nutrition.
Uh-huh.
So
How about your ducks and chickens? Do you eat them?
I do. I totally am an omnivore. I eat what is readily available. I do. When I can't source my own here, such as beef and pork and things like that, I source as close to locally as I can. So my pork comes from friends in Canby that are ethically, sustainably farming. And I buy a half a cow every year from a friend of mine in Vernonia that does free range cattle that farms kind of in the same sphere as if you've ever seen the documentary Biggest Little Farm. That kind of a concept of rotating your animals, rotating your crops so that they work synergetically. It's a closed loop system you're not bringing outside stuff in like fertilizers and pesticides and other chemicals or plastics. So that I try to consume as ethically as I can and as sustainably as I can. But yes, we raise rabbits and chickens and ducks and totally eat them. We eat the eggs. Um, last winter we inherited some ducks from the neighborhood, and they started laying eggs in the spring. And at the end of spring, the beginning of the summer, we let them sit their clutches. So any eggs that were there from the 1st of May until the summer solstice, we let them sit and hatch their own ducks. But other than that, we eat their eggs. And out of the ducklings that they hatched, we allowed any of them to grow. We did have a few injured by predators because although we do have some traps set, predators are a reality. And so some got injured. The ones that got injured did not die, but they were suffering. So we ended their suffering and they went into the smoker. and they were delightful to eat. In fact, I still have a little bit of duck left in my freezer right now. We do eat our chickens, and we also intentionally hatch eggs for the ducks and the chickens, knowing that we have a cycle of rotating through and butchering, so that we don't have to buy poultry for our household at all. We
Okay,
cook it,
well,
and we use everything, like everything.
mhm.
We cooked the bones down, and then after the stock is made, we crush the bones, and then there's still calcium there, which we then end up milling into their compost that then goes into their food. So they're getting calcium from their roasted eggs, they get calcium from bones, there is not a part of these animals that goes to waste. There is not a part of any of this food that goes to waste. If we have apples, we use even the cores and the seeds and the skins. You can cook that down until you've got a jelly. So you've got apple jelly. You then go ahead and grind that up and put it into your compost. If you don't have a garden, take things like your banana peels, and you can go on ahead and put those with anything that flowers. So at the root around your geraniums, all your flowers, that is potassium rich. That's something that the rain that we get here depletes from our soil, and it will feed all of your flowering plants and your fruiting plants to give you more food. The way
Wow. Okay, we're gonna have to stop now, but that is incredible. I think you should every so often give a tour of your farm. And
it's got a little ways to go before I do a full tour, but anybody that stops by frequently, I'll go ahead and walk them through.
okay, well, I would like to be one of the first to do that. Thank you, Tina. And I wish you congratulations on your first pair that you got.
Yeah, I had my first pair this year. It was so wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm excited for more,
Okay, well, we're going to start a little series of gardening tips that we are going to post to our email list. So yeah, as you know, I'm working on that first one that you passed to me, and well, thank you. That was an amazing story, and I've been to her place, so I can vouch for everything she said here. She has not exaggerated anything that I can tell. And so if people want to get in touch with you, how should they do that?
So the fastest way to reach me is via Facebook, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm all over Facebook under Tina Bjornstead Shafransky or Hawthorne Circle Daycare, or email me, hawthorncircle@comcast.net. There is no E at the end of Hawthorne. It's the tree, not the author.
Oh, okay. All right, very fine. Okay, thanks again, Tina. That was wonderful. So another gardening expert is with us, which was Linda Goltzer of the Master Gardener's Demo Garden. So why don't you tell us what's going on with the demo garden? And I stopped by there, by the way, and I didn't see anything out of whack.
It is January, so not much is happening. At the garden, we're working on our plans for 2024. This month, the planning is mostly behind or at computers, but very soon we will be physically at work and with seed starting and bed preparations. Beginning in March, we will be open Mondays and Thursdays for regular days, and a couple of other work days as needed. And then we try to be open at least 2 Saturdays a month for volunteers and visitors who work during the week. We welcome the public in whenever our pedestrian gate is open. That gate is located on Southeast 57th, just south of Duke. And so and we're an educational garden and demonstrate gardening techniques that we share with the public. Our intention is to foster community engagement at the garden and within the Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood. So please stop by if you're out on a walk or even as a destination. So even though it's early January, our gardening crew is gearing up for a successful 2024 at the demonstration garden.
Oh, sounds good. Tell about your speaker series, your online.
Okay, yes, we have an educational, we've actually turned it into a webinar series. It has in the past been just a Zoom series, but now this first spring, we've turned it into a webinar series. And so every month on the third Monday of the month, we have a subject that we talk about. This past month, it was dry farming, and the one coming up in January has to do with wild bees. So in order to get the Zoom link for the webinar, you will need to register. And if you need to do that, you can get in touch with me. And I believe you have my email address there, Stephanie.
Yes.
You
Yeah, we
could,
do.
you could. So it's just get in touch with me and I can get you the link. Normally it started out as a Master Gardener webinar educational series because we need to keep our educational continuing education up in order to continue to be Master Gardeners. But we have opened this to the public so that we can help spread gardening pleasure everywhere.
Okay, sounds wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Then
Mhm.
I started doing volunteer work this last year, and it was just a very, very pleasurable experience to go to the garden and see all the different experiments and meet the gardeners, and it's just lovely. Kim, you have your hand up.
Yes, I'm curious, Linda, is there a way to watch them afterward if you're not able to watch it on the day of the webinar on the Monday?
Yes, we do record it and we have the slideshows available and everything. Yes.
I'm going to be
So
looking
that's
for the,
that's
thank you.
at your website that people can do that.
Yes, there it is available on the Master Gardener website. So Stephanie, you could post both the website address and or my email address to get in touch with me and I can forward.
Okay, fine. We'll do, yeah, I'll do a takeaway
Okay.
after of the meeting and feature you and do a takeaway for Tina as well. So very fine. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So we have this was a gardening meeting deep in winter. It's very nice, I think. And okay, so the next part of our agenda is items of public interest. So I'll go through that very quickly. Errol Heights, our brand new park down in the corner of our neighborhood at 45th and what is it? Is it Harney? 45th and Harney, I think. Had a soft opening 2 days before Christmas on a dank, cold, freezing day. Hundreds of people turned out to see the new park. I was really happy for the parks people, and I was especially happy for Gail because she had so much influence and on the park that we see now. One of the things that she contributed as a member of the committee, the advisory committee, was to convince the parks people to create a way of moving from the upper park to the lower, right, Gail? The parks people wanted to leave the cliff untrailed to create no connection between the upper part for people and the lower part for wildlife and wild plants and so on. But Gail correctly pointed out that the people we're gonna go down the cliff anyway. And so having some sort of structure that could not be destroyed and would not harm the face of the cliff was probably a good way to go, and that's what we have today. So thank you very much, Gail. That was a very good practical advice to give. And Kim has a clapping symbol up, Gail, for you. So Gail, would you like to say what you thought of the park? Because you kept away from it all the time it was being constructed. So what was your impression when you got there? Can we hear you? I forgot. We can't hear you. Okay, well, should I speak for you? All right, she's having audio problems. Well, I met up with Gail at the park, and she told me that she had deliberately stayed away during its construction. She wanted to see it as a big surprise, and she was delighted. She was so happy about the way it was laid out, and I thought it's brilliantly laid out. There are all these separate little places that are they're connected, and yet they're very separate. And I thought the design was marvelous. And we saw the upper part of the structure that takes you down the cliff. We didn't go down it, but anyway, I can I'll just channel her that she was just really, really pleased with this brand new park. So her participation data from 2005. So this is like 18 years she waited to see this park and see what came of her efforts, along with there were several others on the committee, right, representing local area. Yeah, this is what it all led to, Gail. It's just wonderful, and we could see that in the people visiting. People were so happy with the park. And there were just throngs of people on this dank, awful day. I was happy for the parks people too, because they did a really great job on the park. And so they got lots of turnout. So there's going to be a hard opening sometime in the spring. That means that's when all the elected officials show up and take credit, for, no, I just joking. We'll have an official opening. And I think that Gail is going to be speaking at that opening as one of the original advisors to the park. We're going to make sure that you did. And you have your book, right? We found, no. Remember, I emailed you. I found it in the city archives, the old plan. Yeah. I've still got it. If you can't find it, I'll send it to you again. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so that's Errol Heights Park. And if you haven't been there, you should go down there because it's really quite wonderful. Another thing that's happened here is our local convenience stores have been under assault for the last 2-3 years. Lots of vandalism, lots of theft, lots of threats to personal safety. And finally, one of the store owners reached out to us asking if we knew any elected officials, and it turned out that we were able to connect them. And this was a particular organization called the Korean American Retail Grocers of Oregon, KGRO. 2 city council people, Mingus Maps and Carmen Rubio, helped us. They Carmen Rubio's office put together just a tremendous amount of resources for our convenience store owners, and these resources were explained at a meeting at the community center on December 11th. So we had someone we had the chief of staff from the mayor's office. We had a deputy district attorney from Multnomah County District Attorney's Office. We had 3 people from the redevelopment agency called Prosper Portland. We had a commander from the police department who offered to provide as many trainings as it took to help store owners understand how to deal with thieves in the store. And one of the interesting parts about that was that now there's a practice, which I hadn't heard of, called aggregate theft, where somebody may steal something that's $20 in one store and $5 in another and $7 in another. And those used to be regarded as separate incidents, but now with camera footage or video footage and other information, the police are able to aggregate these crimes so that people can be charged for stealing a large amount, even though it was done over time in small amounts. So this is really good news. And but it requires collecting the right kinds of information. And the Portland police commander said that he will teach our convenience store owners how to gather this information so that we can start cracking down on the small theft and along with the big theft. So anyway, that was very exciting, and it was a wonderful use of the community center, and it was something that a neighborhood association was perfectly equipped to do. An individual appealing to a city council person probably wouldn't get very far, but we have enough official standing to where we can say, we're the neighborhood association, we have convenience stores that are under assault, we need your help, and they'll listen. So it's a wonderful service that we could provide to these stores that we depend on. We don't have any big shopping center. We have 6 convenience stores that serve our area, and we make use of them. And we don't want their owners and personnel badly treated. So anyway, that was a really interesting thing that happened. Then we have heard from Portland Bureau of Transportation that our long-awaited sidewalk infill and greenway, we should start seeing construction early, or just very, very soon this year, in this half of this year. We've waited many, many years for this, but there have been a lot of delays. The federal money didn't become available until I think it was early last year. That was part of the delay. But also PBOT has been under tremendous financial stress. It's lost almost half of its budget. They're laying off people. They dug into their own pockets, figuratively speaking, to make our project happen because the federal money wasn't enough, and they're making it happen. So even though it's frustrating that it's delayed, I'm very grateful to them for the effort that they've made on our behalf. Anyway, we should see some sidewalks soon on Duke and Flavel streets, infill on both sides, and then a greenway that bisects the neighborhood east-west. And finally, if you haven't had a chance, go look at the Brentwood Darlington website. We decided to stay with the WordPress. Linda Jameson was very persuasive in convincing me that we could make a really nice website by staying where we were and just learning better how to use it. And so I came around to this. As you know, I wanted to set up a Squarespace site, but thank goodness I let Lisa convince me. And so I've started working on the site with the help of her friend who knows a lot about WordPress. So if you haven't visited our site, you should go and look at it, because it starts off with a nice picture. Those ugly ads with flabby tummies are all gone. We're paying $8 a month. That's $96 a year, whereas Squarespace was going to be $276. So this is a big cost savings, but we're going to get the same result. And so I'm working now on just organizing information that's presented at the site and making a little headway every week, or sometimes twice a week. And it's good. Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate your persuading me that we didn't need to go all out for Squarespace. And let's see. Okay, I think those are all my public announcements. And now I want to get to a new part of the agenda. I want to know or offer a moment. Anyone has any kind of public comment they wish to make? Board member, visitors? What would you like to tell us? Is there anything about what goes on in Brentwood Darlington that's concerning you specifically, or that you would like to see done, or that you're happy about, or you're really glad about the park, or whatever? Done. Okay, and from Gail, the movie in the park is done. What does that mean? Okay, I'm just looking at something in the chat here. Oh, the application. Thank you. All right. So Gail makes sure that we have our movie or music in the park every year, every summer. And that involves submitting an initial application around Christmas time to the city. And Gail says that she has done that on behalf of Brentwood Darlington. And thank you, Gail. That's good news. So, well, and she's writing, we'll have a movie either the second, third, or fourth Friday in July. And is it going to be Encanto? Or we don't know. Oh, I see. Okay, we're hoping it's Encanto, but we don't know. All right. And then would anyone like to see us take up any particular item on a future agenda? There's lots going on. There's the convenience stores, there's the parks, there's the greenway, the sidewalks, the street speeding, the assaults on places like Master Gardeners, or it was people broke into the PPS property, right, Linda Goltzer?
I'm sorry, the question was,
Okay, so recently there were break-ins from the 57th Avenue side, and people were
yes, the thieves continually cut holes in the chain link fence off of 57th. And this last time they were targeting the Portland Public Schools maintenance vehicles and siphoning off gas. And that's pretty much all they did this last time. And the Portland Public Schools maintenance people, every time something like this happens, they contact the Portland Parks and Rec park rangers because, and they do a police report, but the police don't have a lot of people just to come out and look at a chain link fence that was cut in. So there's not a whole lot we can do. Even our great theft that we had last year, we just filled out a police report. They never came, and that was close to $8,000 worth of stuff. So,
oh my gosh, wow.
yeah. And of course our insurance company dropped us, and now we have a higher deductible on a new insurance company. But hey, we're okay. We didn't get broken into this year, so we're fine.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it's just small stuff right now. We've fortified our gardens, and Portland Public Schools has fortified their locks. And you know, what else can we do? We can't live there, so.
And Black Futures Farm has fortified its
Yeah,
buildings too.
yeah,
So,
they have.
all right, so future elected representatives, we do have a problem. I mean, it extends throughout Portland, but we have worthy organizations being vandalized and stolen from. And I know our police department is trying to get up to full officer capacity, but it's not there yet. And so yes, it becomes incumbent on the victims to try to harden their defenses, but people lose insurance. The convenience stores are in danger of losing their insurance. Their insurance companies will not accept any more claims from them. And so they're paying thousands of dollars out of pocket to repair damage. You know, people drive pickup trucks right through their doors and that sort of thing, so they're elected or potentially elected officials, any help you can give with this kind of problem, please help us.
And is this mostly, like vandalism where it happens and you don't see it and you don't know who is responsible? Or in some cases is you do know, but the police still can't do anything?
Well, last, the fall of 2022, when we had our big theft, the Portland Public Schools has security cameras, and they actually caught it on camera. But the thieves know where the cameras are, and so they turn their heads. And you can see the body, the person doing what they're doing, but you can't prove who it is. And they do it between like 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. is when everybody's asleep. So, and we have no electricity at the garden, so we can't have lights and cameras and all of that. So it's difficult, but hey, it's okay.
Okay.
I was actually talking the other day to well, I've talked to both the police chief and the head of the Portland Police Association. They were saying that people are concerned about not responding to calls quickly enough, but also their investigative capacity has been drastically reduced. Bob Day was saying that, like, you can remember there was 150 detectives and now there's 75. And Aaron, who's the head of the police association, said that almost all of their time is spent on homicides and shootings.
Yeah.
So as we rebuild the police force, I mean, we're going to have to sort of decide, okay, how much is going to go into patrol so people can respond to calls, but how many more people are we going to have who can actually investigate crimes after they've happened?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Kim DeLeo, you had your hand up a while. Sorry. Yeah.
Is there that's fine. Is there a way for Linda to apply for the funds that are available through the city for reimbursement of vandalism?
I don't know. We can ask.
Or like the Black Futures Forum? That was one part of my question. The second part was if we maybe just let the commander know that PPB representative who came to the meeting, maybe email him with an update of, hey, FYI, these areas seem to be targeted. That way he's aware of it, it's on his radar, because he seemed pretty receptive to increasing patrols for known places of, incident.
That's one of the reasons why we always make sure, even if there's not any big theft, to turn in a police report so that they know
Yeah.
that, and it's just a computer form that you fill out, so it's not that difficult to do, but at least they know where the target areas should be, should they have someone.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Very nice discussion here. So maybe this is something we can bring up on a future agenda. And since it's appropriate for a general meeting, it affects so many people here. Okay, very good.
Stephanie, I
Okay.
just wanted to ask, were you saying that street speeding is a big problem?
No, I just brought that up because I've been reading about it. So I shouldn't have
Okay.
said that. No, I don't think, well, not racing. Street speeding
Okay.
is a big problem. People drive way too fast here
Right.
and often in big vehicles. I beg your pardon. I was
But yeah, I kind of thought you meant racing too, so I was wondering about that.
I beg your pardon. I made a mistake. Yeah, racing isn't a problem here that I know of, but speeding is, and it's not getting any better. Especially there are certain places too on the hill down 52nd Avenue between Flavel and Harney, and people are going it's at least 50 miles an hour often.
Wow.
But
Also Duke between 52nd and 72nd.
Mhm.
I'm on Duke and 62nd.
Yeah, Duke Street is another one.
And-
And I see people speeding
Yeah.
up Flavel and so on. So yeah, speeding is a big problem. Too many self-important people. Got to get somewhere fast. So okay, so that's another item. Okay, very good. Okay, we need to wrap it up now and get on with the board meeting. Thank you everyone for participating in this meeting. And you're very welcome to stay for the board meeting. if you could stomach it. Do you want to stay, Linda? Okay, so,
No,
Lisa,
I just went through my own board meeting last night, so
oh, you've had
I'm
enough.
sign
Okay, all
out.
right. Very fine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice to meet you all.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. All right.
Yeah.
And, okay, so Linda, yeah, feel free to bow out anytime. I understand 2 board meetings in a row. It's not okay. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Done. Okay, so, oops, we never approved the agenda of last time. So could we quickly, real fast, board, well, never mind. I'm just gonna just skip it. Here we can approve the agenda. Let me go through it quickly. We're still recording. I know which directors are here, and I think that our guests and visitors have pretty much dropped off. So I'll just make a note of that. So we need to approve a few things, check in on the status of Spring Green. I want to talk to you about recruiting board members, advisors, volunteers, and then we have a few reports to deliver. So could you scroll a little further down the agenda, Lisa? Okay, so we have reports on use of the BDCC by during the teachers' strike. Pardham Gardens now is going to be using it. Artisan Market had a successful fair. So we'll just run through that, give you an update on Sparrowhawk and Precision Cast Parts but I think the treasurer's report will be enough. And we'll see if there's any future business. All right, so, okay, so we can abandon the agenda at the moment, but first, just like the board to approve it, I move that we approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
Yes, I'll second it. Where's
Okay,
Gail?
thank you. Thank
What
you,
happened to Gail?
Gail is muted. That she can't, okay, she put up a 2. All right, fine, yeah. Okay. All right, very good. All right, so our first order of business, and I'm just assuming that we all unanimously approve the agenda, is that right? Okay, fine. All right, we need to approve the minutes from the November board meeting. They were attached to the agenda. I'm going to make a big whopping assumption that you all read them avidly and found them just fascinating, worth publication, right? That, all right, so I move that we approve the minutes of November for the general and board meetings. Do I hear a second? That's Gail. All right. And do we all unanimously approve? Okay,
Yes.
hearing no
Um,
dissent. I will. Okay, good. Now the minutes are gone. All right, so I need to share screen and show you the let's see, is this the treasurer's report? Yes. Okay, we have 3 treasurer's reports to take a look at. Let's because we're we didn't have the December meeting, and the October treasurer's report was not ready in time for the October meeting, so I'm presenting it now. Just quickly, you'll see we had $5,300 in the credit union, a number of transactions, and we ended up with 4,900. We have $5 in savings, and then we received from Precision Cast Parts a donation of $13,233.48, which we put into our account at Southeast Uplift, so that in case the tax man comes, we don't have to report that as income until I can find out more about what the tax situation is.
mhm.
And I submitted a report to Southeast Uplift. It's due every year, and you need to submit it in order to get next year's communications funding. And that funding has been increased to $750, which is great news because that covers our MailChimp, which we upgraded so that we could send out more posts to more people, and our website, which we let me come back up here. That is the WordPress upgrade. Is now 96. We had free WordPress before, but then that gave us these awful ads and less ability to improve the site. I have canceled the Squarespace. That was $276, but we're going to see in a later report something about that. So we started off November with 4,900. We had MailChimp, Google storage fee, just some little minor stuff. We ended up with 4,900, just a little bit down. $5 in the savings, and then nothing has changed at Southeast Uplift to begin with, because we had our big donation from Precision Castboards added to some money that we already had. But then we got money from Sparrowhawk. We paid our partners for their work. This is Master Gardeners getting $2,500 and Black Futures Farm $800. That left us $1,656, which is enough to pay for Movies in the Park in July, and pay the marching band, and have some left over for refreshments and swag. So Sparrowhawk has paid for our summer Movies in the Park, with a little bit to spare, couple $100.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's nice to know that that's all taken care of. And so when you add in the 1,656 that is ours, then what we have resting over at Southeast Uplift is $15,241, which is a nice chunk of change to have. Now I'm meeting with a representative from Precision Castboards at his request soon, I think next Monday, and I'm wondering what he's going to ask me. What are we going to use this for? But anyway, well, I'll find out and I'll let you know what that meeting is about. So let's go to December. I got this out the other day. We started at 4,900 and we pretty much ended up at 4,900. Now we had our usual MailChimp, our storage fee. We also did Black Futures Farm a little favor, and I use my chair privilege of independent choice on small amounts. Black Futures Farm had arranged with the Parks Department to hold a forum on who uses parks in our area and how to get more people involved in parks and so on. And Black Futures Farm thought that Parks was paying for the rental and for a monitor. And then it turns out that had never been finalized. And so Malcolm Hoover asked if we could possibly pay. It was something like totaling $90, $22.50 of which was for a monitor who I guess facilitated this forum. So I said yes, because this is something that we can do. We can help out our partners every once in a while. And this wasn't a lot of money. It was less than $100. Builds a lot of goodwill, and we love Black Futures Farm anyway. And then the room rental hasn't been cashed yet. Maybe that'll show up in January, but this $22.50 is the monitor. Okay, so this is now we have $100 donation from me, and that is, I intend to repay BDNA for my decision to go for Squarespace when we didn't need to. It was not, it was a hasty decision, and I really regret it. And so I want to make sure that BDNA is not hurt monetarily by that decision. So over time, I'm repaying the $276 that it cost us, so that we are fine with. Okay, Kimberly, yes.
I mean, is that really necessary? It's just kind of, I don't know, the
Oh,
cost.
well, it's a personal thing with me. I'm gonna feel a lot better if I haven't wasted our money. That's all.
But yeah, but didn't we all vote on that way back when? So I don't think
But
that's solely.
I was
yeah,
the one leading the charge, right? And
I think honestly, I don't feel like you should have to feel that way. We all voted on it. We all saw no problem with it. And sometimes that happens. I mean, none of us are experts in IT, so.
well, that's very kind of you. I mean, we could just consider it as a donation from me then, and
Yes. Or-
from just love. Okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Kimberly. I mean, how did the rest of you feel? Do you feel like him? Really? Okay.
Well, if we
Yeah.
voted on it, it sounds like, it's not like you just ran off and did it on your own.
Well, that's
Okay.
true. I didn't, but on the other hand, I was trying to persuade you to vote for it.
Okay.
Okay, well, all right. Well, thank you very much. I mean, okay, well, I'll just leave this as a donation that I make for love of BDNA, okay? And thank you very much for absolving me of this guilt. Thank you, Kim, and all of you.
You're welcome. You don't need to have that kind of guilt. You do so much. And you're pretty much the reason we're still operating. So please don't have any guilt.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Okay. All right. Well, so our checking account then is pretty much, it's actually gained a little bit over the month. And then we still have $5 in our savings account. And then we still have 15,241 over at Southeast Uplift, and we're going to be getting 750 pretty soon. So those are our up-to-date treasurer's reports. I don't see in the bylaws that we really have to approve those, but we can accept them, or we see what's going on with them. So I found a way to turn these out really fast by and so this is pretty easy, but the chair should not be doing the treasurer's report. However, there's a conflict of interest there that I could have my hand in the till, and you wouldn't even know it. But I mean, I wouldn't, because I'm a really honest person, but it's really not condoned in nonprofits for the president or chair to also be the treasurer. So eventually we need to offload this chore to somebody else. But I found a way to make it really, really easy. And so I think we'll be able to find somebody who can do this. All right. So does anyone have any questions about all these figures here? No? Is it clear? Okay, very good. All right, I'm going to stop sharing here then. And I'd like to check in with Tina for a moment about the spring green.
So I sent all of the information to Vivian. Vivian's on it. We communicated just before the meeting. She is waiting to hear back information from all the potential vendors. So we have an official vendors list and official costs, so that as soon as that comes in, I will, within 48 hours, shoot you an email with the updated budget letter.
Oh, wonderful. Okay,
That's where we're at. We're just at the hurry up and wait stage.
Okay, well, so I should apply for that grant, the Metro grant, in January. So so before January is over, I'll need that information from you, so I know how much to apply for.
Typically, because everything got slowed down with the holidays, right? And people have been sick. So I'm figuring with when Vivian got on this, that we should hear no later than, let me pull up my calendar. I am estimating all of the information will be to us within, that's not what I needed. I need the month. I should be able to get you a letter. I'm going to say hopefully by the 10th, if not the 12th.
Oh, okay, well, that's plenty of time. I mean, give yourself
So,
another week or so. I mean, that's fine. It's
Yeah.
just in January.
yeah, we're just at the ironing out stage with the vendors. I mean, some of them we won't know, and if they charge things, then we'll tell them, sorry, you didn't reply in a timely manner. Maybe next year, but a lot of them are free. So it's just waiting to hear back from, like, I had her email the Oregon Solar, because I thought it would be really, because it's a spring green, it's environmental stuff. That it would be really nice to have a representative showing, maybe they've done workshops for free for other organizations, and our neighborhood is at risk. So finding ways to bring in solar into our neighborhood at discounted and free and under grants and stuff would be really nice. And they support all of that. So they're one of my little really good perks if they could show up kind of and do a workshop. So we're waiting on those kinds of replies.
Oh, okay, well, this sounds outstanding. All right, well, I'm poised to apply. I mean, Gail, I cannot apply for $2 million. I'm so. They don't have $2 million. Okay, so, all right, that sounds fabulous. I'm really happy to hear that. Okay. And then we'll check in. I should check in with you though, Tina, since Laura Lee left. I can't remember, she applied for some, or she signed up for some tasks in Spring Green. So we'll have to figure out who's going to do those. And maybe but there might be something that, Derek, you haven't signed up for that, but there might be something that is possible for you to do, even though I know you're working 2 jobs.
Uh-huh.
But if something on a weekend or something that could be done in an evening online or something, whatever it
Laura
might be.
Lee signed up for the snacks beverages pickup. So and same with the coffee, Starbucks kind of a thing, is all she signed up for was the day of to pick up stuff.
Oh. And the day
I just literally have the form in front of me right this second.
oh, thank you. Okay.
Mm.
Would that possibly be something if we gave you a list, Derek, and money?
That's possible. Do you have a debit card I can use or money or rather than?
Yeah, I can loan you the debit card.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, you don't have to spend your own money on it.
Yeah, what is the date again that this will be done?
23rd of March.
23rd of March. Let me look at my calendar. I'm gonna go to my phone. So 23rd of March is a Saturday. Yeah, I could possibly do that and give you a heads up. Most likely I'm gonna be in a light rail operator class starting February 1st, and that's gonna go for 11 weeks. So I'm thinking I probably could, I would think I'm not gonna be on class on the weekends. So I'm thinking, yeah, just
Oh, okay.
and the more lead time I have, the better as far as going
Right.
out, picking things up. Yeah.
Right. Okay. No, we'll get, if you could do that, that would be great. So the event is in the afternoon, so that gives you the morning to,
Right.
and we could order the coffee the day before or whatever. And okay.
Well,
It'd give you-
and I
but-
figured I'd still touch base with her and see if she'd actually still do that volunteer spot. It's a small volunteer spot that's a big to do.
Mhm.
So it's something that would work with her daily life. It doesn't have to be done by a board member.
Okay.
So
Right.
I
Well, just
figured
keep me
that's one of those
posted.
things that I
Yeah.
check in with people of the month of.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, then if she agrees to do it, maybe there'd be something else that Derek could do that wouldn't, that would fit with his schedule and
Right.
and not be too onerous. Okay, because
Mhm.
when you're doing 2 jobs, I mean, that's a lot, Derek.
Well,
Okay,
let's,
we'll check back. We'll check back with you later.
it's good to be busy.
Yeah, well, we love having you be part of our efforts. So we'll find something that works for you.
There
And
we go.
okay, very good. All right. Well, this all sounds very positive. All right. Thank you very much, Tina. All right. Okay, so let's go on and talk about a recruitment plan. Hold on here. Okay. Okay, so I am reaching out to you to ask you, and by you, I also mean me, all of us, members of the board, all of us directors, to see whether we can bring into the fold some energetic new board members. Now, all of us, with the exception of me, we work full-time, so that puts a big crimp in our ability to to do things, to get together in committee form and whatever, and carry out events or volunteer on behalf of BDNA or whatever it is. But we can find people who do have the time. And I'm so enthusiastic about the way in which a neighborhood association can help a neighborhood. I feel that we can give that message to people. So I'm asking you all and me to recruit some energetic new board members to serve our neighborhood, our residents, our businesses, our organizations. And we can do this by advocating on behalf of them, the way we're doing for the convenience stores, for example, by acting as a two-way conduit between our neighborhood and local government, by providing meeting forums, and we need to advertise that so people will show up and speak their minds, by furthering the aims of local organizations like Master Gardeners or the Lane Food Pantry. I mean, this last year, the Lane Food Pantry director asked me if we would run a post because they needed volunteers. And so I used our MailChimp to reach our community, and the food pantry got a bunch of volunteers. And so it was a wonderful way to use the MailChimp, right? And it helped them, it helped our families. And so I've become really enthusiastic about the MailChimp being used to further the aims of local organizations. And then we've been working with Impact Northwest to revitalize the community center. And I'm hoping that more of us can get involved with that effort, even those of us who are working. I met with Andy Nelson of Impact Northwest this morning, and we have decided that we are going to work on submitting a proposal for a planning grant from the Portland Clean Energy Fund, because we meet all their criteria, and we need someone, an expert, like a contractor, architect person, to help us lay out a plan that will eventually result in refurbishing the building, new roof, fixing dry rot, repainting the works, and maybe upgrading the kitchen, and also opening up the community center to the community, expanding Impact's homelessness prevention services to the BDCC, and oh God, what's the other one? All of a sudden, my mind is blanking. There's a really important other part. Oh, I know. It's to use the BDC as a gathering place during weather emergencies. We've done that in the past. I mean, Chelsea initiated this, and we would like to be able to make it a standard during ice storms and heat waves, that people can come to the community center and warm up or cool off, charge up their phones, whatever, their laptops, and get some information about what to do in this emergency. So it's a three-part thing, but we really need a contractor type person who's very familiar with how to improve buildings and work with nonprofits like us. So anyway, we're going to be applying for this grant. So this is part of working with Impact Northwest to revitalize the community center. And then we hold events. We have the movies in the park, and we have the electronics recycling. And if we got some more people, we could probably put on another national night out party. And that could be partially a picnic. Kimberly, you had suggested once, they're having some sort of picnic event at the BDCC would be, really a popular idea, and we could combine that with a hot dog grill and music. And there was a National Night Out celebration that was held a few years back that people still talk about. And so be nice to be able to do that again in August, say. And but we're going to need some people to help make that happen, and we don't have enough of us right now. So anyway, when we reach out to other people, we can be sure to tell them, how we can advance their well-being, and or how they can use our structure to get what they want, whether it's an event or whether it's advocacy, or whether it's to be able to speak their minds, whether they can work on the community center or use it for something, whatever. There are lots of possibilities. And then we do, in the midst of all this, it would be good to be able to find some people who will take on the basics. I've figured out a way to do the minutes in this very succinct, easy way, so there should not be a burden. But it'd be nice if I didn't do it anymore, if somebody else did it. 'Cause now I'm doing it for because Laura Lee is gone. And the same thing with the treasurer. I found a way to to do the bookkeeping and keep track of all the receipts and all this, and partially emulating Lynn Reck, the former treasurer. It's not a hard job, but I feel like I can be more helpful if I'm not doing it. And in any case, it's illegal for me to be doing it. So we really need to find somebody who's further removed from the money than I am as chair. And it'd be really great to find somebody who's interested in land use, which encompasses development, transportation, and air quality. Before
Stephanie,
go ahead.
I had an idea pop in my head, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'll just throw it out. I'm just thinking if it's some kind of media, something written like what we're looking for, if nothing else, maybe just hang it on the doors of new residents in the neighborhood. I mean, it's something, go beyond mailing. Just,
Oh, I
you
see.
know,
Okay, so actual.
hey, we're looking for you. Or like, hey, by the way, you just moved in the Brentwood Darlington neighborhood, and here are some great things we have. And oh, by the way, we're looking for people like these to take up important positions in the neighborhood association and make a difference.
Oh, okay. So I like that idea. Let me give it some more thought here. Took some
Yeah.
notes. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think there are all kinds of ways to reach out. That
I think it's just somebody to, and maybe we could figure out how to do this. I'm happy to coordinate it. I couldn't do all of it, but if nothing else other than knocking on the door and just saying, hi, welcome to the neighborhood here. By the way, here's something about the neighborhood, and we're looking for people to do some important positions with the neighborhood association. And don't put them on the spot. It's like, do you know anybody that might be interested?
Okay,
Or either now or sometime in the distant future, right?
right.
Just plant a seed.
Yeah, it's a nice alternative to online communications for sure. Thank you for
Right.
that.
And I feel mailing is kind of passive. And so I was mailing brochures at one time to new neighbors, but I just, the response rate, I was not encouraged by that.
No, the
think-
response rate is kind of low, I think. Huh.
Well, I think if you can knock on the door, because we all get junk mail, right? And I sort my junk mail over the recycle bin. And so I'm thinking if you knock on those, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. I'm not selling anything, but here's some information about the neighborhood association and some opportunities to get involved with it.
Mhm.
Have a nice day and call us or contact us with any questions. Thank you.
Okay, well, I've taken a bunch of notes here. Let me think about how that might be done. I like
Okay.
that idea, a in-person approach if we can do it. Thank you very much, Derek.
Yeah.
So another position that would be really fabulous would be that of vice chair, someone to share the chair with me.
That's a core, right? Yeah, that's something like treasurer, vice chair, secretary, those core
And land
positions.
use. Don't forget
Land use,
use.
yes.
When I before I left land use, I tried to enlist some other people that I had gotten to know who were interested in land use, but I wasn't spoke to 3 different people, but they didn't want to take on the land use position at the time. It was like too much responsibility for them. They're working full time, and or they were just, one had a brand new baby, it was very it just didn't work out. So we do need land use in addition to secretary, treasurer, and vice chair. And then it would be great to have somebody who would be willing to posts that have been created for the website and MailChimp and Facebook, because it's time consuming to do that sort of thing. It's very valuable, but it takes a lot of time to create a post and then log into MailChimp and then go through all their steps that they have to create a post and then schedule it and then leave. And so it would be wonderful to have someone who could at least do the going into the MailChimp part and posting things. It would also, if we can also find people who are interested in carrying out events, who are willing to work with other board members and volunteers and make a whole event happen. It's an intricate kind of thing. I'm willing to apply for grants and write checks, but I feel like I need to not be at the store buying ice anymore. I think we need to have other people involved in events. It was good for me to learn everything that was involved in the Spring Green and the movies in the park, but now I'm ready to have somebody else buy the ice. So anyway, people who are interested in working with others on carrying out events would be great. And then I would also like to see us tabling at events, others' events and ours, like Earth Day, which means getting some better handouts together, but I'm working on that. But it'd be nice if we can cover this basic stuff, but I also would like to make sure that whatever anyone is interested in, if they don't want to be secretary or whatnot, that's fine, don't push that. But if there is something that they want to accomplish that sounds reasonable within what we have, we should welcome them and see if we can get them interested in joining our board or becoming an advisor. Be nice to have kind of a network of volunteers, advisors, board directors who can do different things. Right now we're at a low ebb, and we just need more person power. So I am calling on all of you and me to reach out to others, speak one-on-one with family, friends, and others at home, your neighbors, book club, church, work, everywhere. And we're going to have handouts to give you. One is some cards that have on one side list of what we're best at, and on the other side, a woman had asked, give us words to text to our friends. And so I have made up cards that have on the back, on one side is what we can do, on the other side is words that can be used to text to friends. And it'll be very succinct. Then post on your Facebook page if you have one, and then help hand out stuff, cards and flyers at local events. So we have an event coming up soon. I had BDNA join something called the Community Services Network, which I don't know a whole lot about it yet, but it's an organization that is like a big library of resources, governmental, city, county, metro, they help people connect with resources that they need. So they're holding a fair at Lane Middle School on January 20th, which is a Saturday, and we're going to have a table. I don't know yet whether it's going to be indoors or outdoors. I hope it's indoors. But as we get closer to the 20th, I'm going to ask if there's somebody who could, one of you, two of you, who could join us and just work the crowd, just hand out these cards in the crowd, our join us cards. And then we'll have our own event, our recycling event coming up in March. And then we'll have Earth Day coming up in April. And what to say, we're making a difference, be proud, be enthusiastic about being part of BDNA's work. Say, I'm on the board because, I feel like we're making a difference in the neighborhood, or whatever it is that it means to you to be on the board. And right now we have a small board, but I regard us as a critical core of people who are very dedicated to BDNA and to the neighborhood. And so you could portray our existing board as a critical core. And then let people know that getting work done for the neighborhood is fun and rewarding. I know last year when we all showed up for the recycling event, that was a really fun day to be at the table and collect donations and hand out pamphlets and talk with people and see how happy they were to get rid of all their old junk. And I thought that it was a lot of fun to participate in that event. And of course, the more people who join us, the more we can do. We need lots of different opinions, ideas, information. We're living in troubled times. You can see all around the world, things are not in great shape. And it seems to me that working locally, we can help ourselves to be resilient and to do well, to thrive in spite of what the problems that we're facing socially in the social fabric. So we can connect on the ground by helping each other. We can reach out to local government for resources. We can share information, offer events that bring people together and support our schools and food pantries and our ag center groups and businesses. This is what Tina is doing with her farm. But this would be a larger effort with more people, but it's exactly the same thing. And so I'm hoping that you'll approve this plan. And then as soon as I can get the flyers and cards printed up, and there's a QR code thing that has to be done that Tina is helping me with, but we're going to get QR codes on the flyer that lead to a form that you fill out, that where you put your name and your address, and then you get to choose things that you're most interested in and what you most want to work on and so on. It's a really nice form. And if you could, over the weeks to come, just speak to and sign up as many people as possible. If they don't want to join, at least get them on the mailing list, or at least get them to use the QR code to get to the form, and there's a place at the end where you can join the mailing list. So our board elections are in May, but if you find an enthusiast, we can always consider them for board membership sooner. It doesn't have to be May. So that was my thought for how the board could go about reaching out into our world around us. And again, I'm including me, to see if we can enlist some more members. So I'd like to know your reactions, please. What do you think? Sound like a good approach? What do you think, Kim? Kim, I was asking you what you think.
Oh, sorry. No, I like it. I think it's good. I was just trying to think of, people I might know. I mean, definitely going to reach out to my neighbors, and even maybe I was thinking my old neighbors on Henderson might be inclined. I like the in-person handing of pamphlets. Just don't get shot, you know.
No, that's right. I mean, yeah, don't try to force yourself on hostile people.
Well, you know, people are pretty like me as well. Like, you know, if somebody's on my porch, I'm not answering the door because I don't know you. But
Uh-huh.
I am a death investigator, and so, you know, you know. But I find that if you have some sort of at least identification, and you know, I'm not here to try to sell you anything. Here to give you information about our neighborhood association.
Mhm. Okay, well,
Or
those are,
Derek will navigate that.
Mhm.
yeah, no, those are good cautions. And okay, Tina, what do you think?
I was actually just starting to type. So asking things like there's 3 stores in the neighborhood, there's all the pot shops, there's laundromats, there's different places that you can post at. You can ask at all of the carts if they'll go ahead and post a sign. Posting that little flyer, encouraging people to engage. It's kind of junk maily, but it's when people are waiting in line, they're willing to read these things. They're kind of a trapped audience. So I'm like, even if you don't feel like you know your neighbor, or you're not ready to approach a stranger's door, I do, but not everybody is, because there is that fear factor. You know, there's opportunities for everybody to network.
Okay, yeah, no, that's true, but do stay within your comfort zone. You know, we don't need to be soliciting scary neighbors. So
Exactly. And we don't need to knock on doors that we don't know the people. I mean, I do, but I get those that don't. And I usually have a safety net. You know, I have my husband waiting on the street, or one of my adult children, because we'll go for a neighborhood walk and I'll go, hey, hang on. But more often than not, as the weather gets better, I talk to people when they're doing yard work.
oh.
Because they're
That's
already
another
out there.
thing. Yeah, when people are doing yard work or even walking their dogs. I mean, you
know,
can
I've
engage with people on the sidewalk. Yeah.
you engage with people when you're walking your dogs. You engage with people when I'm standing at line at the little mini mark on 72nd and Flavel. I'm talking to people in line. You know, when I answered an ad asking how to prune their hardy kiwi, I went over, I'm like, hey, so do you attend the Zoom meetings? And he's like, no. Well, I'm like, you really need to get involved with the BDNA. They're doing a lot of work. They're small still, but they do a lot of good. So show up. So every time I talk to anybody in this neighborhood, whether it's in one of the groups, in the crafting circle, online, in person, walking my dog, standing, people picking up buy nothing stuff. I'm like, hey, have you heard about the BDNA? You know, and I pass the word.
Thank you.
How much good it does word of mouth. I think it would help having these little cards that I could hand to them.
No, that's right, where they can use the QR code or tiny
But
URL to get to the form.
you know, I personally, with how much I interact, and I'm right here on the border, you know, I'm 3 houses off of 82nd, almost to Duke. I honestly can say every single month of the year, I deal with over 100 people in our neighborhood. If I had
Wow.
something physical to hand them, when they
I'm at
walk my yard, they pick up things from Buy Nothing, they're asking me garden stuff, I could totally be passing out those flyers.
Uh-huh. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I'm at the other end of that interaction spectrum in my neighborhood. But thank you, Tina.
I talk to everyone. I'm that person.
Yeah, okay, good. We'll give you more flyers. You get the most. Okay. All right, Derek. Okay, so you had suggested again, you know, going to new householders and speaking to them in person and so on. So you've got the lists of who's new, right?
That's correct. I can get that from the title company. Yes.
Okay.
And I was thinking in the past, we were mailing to about around 30 names a month.
Yeah.
And I think if we divide that up, that would not be a big task. And I think it's just more of this, just not, just engage people as opportunity comes. And and just say, hey, I'm from the neighborhood association. We're doing, just have what's called an elevator speech ready. We do some worthwhile things in the neighborhood. Here's a pamphlet telling you more. And also, if you want to be able to contact us, there's an email or QR code or however you want to
Yeah, no, we'll set that up and
engage with us. Yeah.
and then
ask specifically for the board member position. Somewhere it should say, we're looking for a treasurer, a co-chair, a secretary. Just put it out there what you want. Yeah.
amongst other things. Okay, Tina, you have,
Yeah.
thank you. Tina, you have your hand up.
Telling new people that haven't been to a meeting about, hey, we need these board members might scare them away, but telling them one of the great things that you guys have started is having a featured person. Today it was me. Frequently in the last few months, it's been artisans. Having a community person of interest and knowing who that person is for the next meeting helps sell them, hey, come to a meeting. We've got so-and-so talking about blah, blah, blah. It invites them in a welcoming way where they'll want to come, especially knowing that there's also activities and functions that are being supported by the Brentwood Darlington Neighborhood Association.
Yeah, Derek, yeah, I think that Tina makes a good point. So I'd like to sort of combine the idea of visiting new households, but instead of saying what we need, we invite them to get involved in something really positive. So I think that might be a good approach.
And
Okay.
then there's 4 board members and 2 advisors tonight. I think there's a 5th board member total. This is not sustainable. You have to recruit.
We have to what?
You have to recruit or
Oh yeah, no, we have to.
the
Yeah,
board is no longer sustainable. It's too small.
no, that's right. So and now, we've got a lot of things to brag about, and it's a good time. It's a good time to recruit, I think. And Gail, what do you think? You can't talk, but you could do something. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. All right. Lisa, do you have a comment on this?
Just as I've said to you before, I think that we would attract, the more activities we do, particularly at the community center, I think the more we will attract people to these meetings and to participate on the board. So I had proposed that we try to do a series, and I'm willing to work on it if somebody else is willing to do it with me, to maybe have meet the, police, meet the Portland Street Response, meet your local representative, that kind of thing. See if people would like to come and talk to those folks, because I think they probably would. But so if anybody's interested in doing such a thing, the limitations for me is that I'm so new here. So if there's somebody else in the neighborhood that would be willing to work with me on it, I would put some time in to make such a thing happen. I think that might interest people.
I think yeah, injecting the BDCC into the picture is a good idea. And Impact Northwest gave us all the evenings in 2024 to fill as we like. So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I'm sure Friday is available too. Sometimes Wednesday is not available. We have the second Saturday of every month. And so they're encouraging us to reach out and bring people in. And so we'll be working on that. And that's a good opportunity to get people involved in the BDNA as well. I like Lisa's idea of these meetings that bring in community resources that are of interest, like police people, net people, beacon, whatever. And so we have a whole variety of ways of reaching out here. Posting, handing out to people in lines, engaging dog walkers, approaching new households, and then of course beating up on our family and friends and close neighbors and so on. And I'm going to see if I can speak to the board and also put a post in the newsletter of the group I belong to. It's an aging in place group. So this is a bunch of people who are retired, so they've got time on their hands. So I'm going to see if I can interest some people from that that group. And my next door neighbor had a suggestion. He thought that there might be students from Reed College who live in our area, renting while they go to school, who might be interested in joining our board for a quarter, 2 quarters, and doing things like studying governance on the ground. You know, how hard is it? Or doing tech work for us, you know. And so I thought I would explore that as well, but I still have to give that a little more thought. But I am going to reach out to some other groups and go speak to groups as I can, and see if I can interest some people. So we have a whole range of things we can do. So I think my next step then is to ask you to, I mean, I guess just in talking with you, I feel that you approve of this plan in general. Or is that true? I mean, I can make it formal and say, I move that we adopt this plan, and ask for a second. Okay, you're seconding it, Lisa. And okay, so if there are no objections, we'll say, all right, we like this plan with the amendments that we have contributed about all these different ways that we can reach out to people. So I'm working with Tina on this QR code thing and the form to which it will be attached. So as soon as we get that straightened out, and maybe we could do that this weekend, Tina, because I'd like to get go to the printers and get these flyers. Do you remember we saw these flyers? You know, they have those colored bars that are the colors from our logo, and they say what we do, what we're good at, and on the back is a list of accomplishments for the last year, so that those can be, you know, turned over and say, oh, look at this, all the things that we worked on. And so as soon as I can get the handouts and things to you, we can get going then, maybe in the next week or so. Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds
We
good
do
to
need
me.
your help. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I want to save the work plan and the budget for next time. It's getting really late. I'm tired, and I know that you are as well. We've just gone through 2 meetings, so we've essentially talked about our work plan already in talking about the recycling and movies in the park and so on. So we'll just look at that next time. And I'll just quickly go through some information here, but is there any more commentary about the recruitment plan? No. Okay. Let me stop sharing on that. And I'll just quickly tell you that part of Gardens is going to be using the BDCC starting January 24th through May. They'll have every Wednesday morning. And so I agreed with Impact Northwest that BDNA should be responsible for the organizations that it refers to the BDCC for using the facilities. So I'm going to watch over Part-Time Gardens and be an intermediary if necessary, but I don't think it will be. I think it'll be fine. So they're going to have long-term use free, which is wonderful for them. They're going to be out of the rain and the cold, and they'll be having the big room and the kitchen at their disposal. So I'm really happy about this. And then and we just revised the agreement. I think that was attached with the agenda. It's fine. We both signed it. The artisan market had a very successful fair on December 9th. I stopped in. Tina was there. I don't know if anyone else did, but the atmosphere was very festive, and there were tons of people. And it was it was really lovely. And so they're planning already an event in summer, which will be their third market. And we've already reserved the space for the summer. And then I've already told you that we've got all the evening hours at our disposal and one Saturday afternoon a month that we can give to groups and people to use free. It's a really nice way to get people into the BDCC. The the executive director was very happy about all the use that the BDCC saw during the teachers' strike. And the Sun community was there, the Lane PTA was there. There's another group that used it, and then the teachers were going in and out. They come in to get warmed up and use the bathroom facilities when they left the picket line over at Lane Middle School. So it was a really jumping with life for a little while, and it's the way it ought to be all the time. It was just a wonderful experience, and the impact staff who worked there were really happy with it too. Tina, yes.
I'm going back on topic. Gail asked how many you want printed because they do printing.
Oh gosh, Gail, that's wonderful. I hate to take advantage of you, but you offered first. I didn't ask you, right? Okay. All right, thank you. I don't know yet, but maybe a couple reams. And we'll buy the paper. Okay. And then you've got okay. All right, swell. And we can, okay, it'll just be white paper. Thank you, my dear. That's wonderful. All right. And all right, and I already told you about the Sparrowhawk and the precision cast parts money. And so that's it then. All right. Any questions? Okay, Lisa.
Oh, I just wondered, just a clarification, on the website, it says if you want to use the community center, contact Impact Northwest. But are they doing it through us, or are they doing it directly through
Okay, so
Impact?
thank you. I mean, that's an old message that needs to be changed.
Oh, okay,
So
okay,
thank you. I meant to fix, well,
that's fine. I was just curious. Okay, thanks.
so there are two things that are going on. One is us being given free hours to give out to our friends, and then Impact still will be renting now and then to people, and its staff is using, the child development staff is using the
Right, I understand that. Thanks.
So let me think about how to fix that message so that it broadens out to include us. And so I will give that some thought tomorrow. Thank you very much. And, okay, anything else? All right, then why don't we call it a night? Thank you very much for hanging in there the way you always do.
Right.
Really appreciate
you.
it. And we'll be in touch and give you the handouts soon. And also, when I bring them around to you, I want to get your signatures on some cards. I'd like to I would like to honor Chelsea Powers, because she kept BDNA running all through the pandemic. She had very bad luck in the summer where she lost her land use. She lost the treasurer. She had family deaths, and it was like too much for her. The thing kind of collapsed. But I would like to thank her. So Gail made this great card, and would like each of us to sign it. So when I bring you the handouts, then maybe you can sign this card for Chelsea, and we'll figure out a ceremony or something to and then I have also thank you cards for the Parks Department, because they do such a great job of maintaining our parks. So okay, and those are from Gail too. Gail is our cards person.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you,
Great.
Gail.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you,
thanks to
Gail.
All right,
all
guys.
of you.
Y'all have a good night.
Okay, good
Okay.
night, everybody. Take care. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
Stephanie, take care.
Take care.